Hello Stampers, MJ Owens here, your Southwest Stamper, coming to you from the land of enchantment. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the U.S. Today I would love to show you how I made this card. This is a vintagey looking thank you card. You're the best, thanks. And then a note of thanks, and you can write your sentiment, handwritten sentiment inside. So let's get started on today's project. The products that we are going to be using today, we'll start with the cardstock layers. The base is very vanilla, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and then I gave it a good crease with my bone folder. I have two layers here that are 5 1/4 by 4. One is a wood grain designer series paper, and I will show you that in just a second. And then the other piece is soft suede. A piece of very vanilla, and that is cut at 5 by 3 3/4. Two pieces of very vanilla cut at 2 by 3. And two little pieces here. One is very vanilla, one is berry burst, and they're cut at 3/4 by 2 1/2. The designer series paper that I used is called Wood Textures, and it is 6 by 6 paper, and it's on page 191 of the current catalog. And the catalog just came out on June the 1st, the 2018-2019. And this designer series paper, the wood grains are, there's 48 sheets here, and they're double-sided, so you get so many choices. And I have used this paper for a lot of different projects. So check it out on page 191. It is so awesome. The ink pads we're going to use today are Memento Tuxedo Black, Smokey Slate, Berry Burst, and Soft Suede. The stamp sets that we're going to use today are Thankful Thoughts, and I'm using the thanks out of this one. And then the new stamp set in this year's catalog, P.S. You're the Best. We're going to use a few stamps out of this one. The typewriter, You're the Best, the little heart, and these stamped letters. Let's do some stamping. We're going to stamp a note of thanks in the soft suede. Bring it a little closer to me so I can try to get it centered on the top. Okay, and then let me clean my stamp off. We're going to stamp the little letters here, and that is in soft suede also. I'll put that in the corner and that in the corner. And then on these two little pieces that are 2 by 3, we're going to stamp one on either side like that. And then clean off my stamp. And I've already stamped the thank you to say thanks, just to save a little bit of time. And I think that that is all of the soft suede color that we're going to stamp with, but we'll leave that open for a second because we're going to use it to do some sponging. Oh no, there is one more thing. We have to stamp inside of the typewriter, but first let's stamp this in Memento because we're also going to do some aqua painting. Okay, so let's stamp that right here. And then clean off my stamp right quick. And then take the You're the Best with the soft suede. Stamp it right there. And then we're going to take our little bitty heart We're going to use Berry Burst for that. Just to give a little bit of color. Stamp the heart there. And then we're going to stamp it at the bottom of the inside layer. And that's all the Berry Burst stamping we're going to do. Okay, so let's close up the Berry Burst and we'll do the sponging right quick. I have my little sponge dauber that I just put on my finger. And the reason why we're going to sponge these pieces is because I think it'll make it look a little bit more vintage. There's a little bit of ink left on here, so I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges of this little banner. And then what the leftover ink that I'm going to have on here, we're just going to kind of dirty up the pages a little bit. Not much, just here and there. There, that looks a little more vintagey. The next thing we'll do is take our Smokey Slate, and I'm going to use a acrylic block and just put some of the ink on the top of the block. Close that pad up, and we're going to take the aqua painter, and I don't want the aqua painter really wet, so I'm not going to drip any water on here. I'm just going to use the water that's already in here, and this is just to give our typewriter a little bit of color. And it's okay to get outside the lines because we're going to fussy cut this out. And you don't have to be precise. It's going to be darker in some areas and have a little highlight in some areas. I just didn't want a light colored typewriter, so now what I'm going to do in this area here, since it will be darker down in the shadowy part, I'll just color that in a little darker, and that makes it look a little more natural. Okay. Now I'm going to clean off my tips of my brush, tip of my brush, and then I'm going to also clean off my clear block. Okay, I think we are ready to fussy cut this out. While we're waiting for that to dry a second, let's go ahead and snip the edges of our small pieces to make our banner. And we can adhere this together and get some stuff out of our way here. Get rid of all these little scraps. And I'm going to put snail adhesive on the top part of this. little crooked. There. Still a little bit crooked. Let me see if I can straighten it up a little bit. Okay, that's for the front of our card. So we're going to fussy cut this typewriter out, and what I'll do is fast forward, just so you don't die of boredom. That would be a very terrible thing to happen to you and to me, because I need for you to subscribe to my channel. So I will be back with you as soon as this is fast forwarded. Our typewriter is all cut out and ready to use on our card. I'm going to take my sponge dauber and kind of ink this up just a little bit to make it match the rest. So let's get rid of our scrap pieces. So I'm going to put a little bit of snail adhesive. These are going to look like just papers laying on top of the desk. So I think I'll put some adhesive in this corner. And get all my card pieces ready to layer. Let's layer the wood grain on the card base. And then we're going to use snail adhesive for the rest of this. I think will be just fine. We'll put our pages that are laying on the top of our desk. About right there. And I think what we're going to do is use dimensionals for the typewriter. Oops, gonna stick it to myself. And I think that should be plenty. Now the next thing we'll put on is the banner. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little snail on this end, and a couple of dimensionals on the other end. This time I think I'll raise it up just a little bit. And there is today's project. I hope you enjoyed today's project. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would love for you to share my video with others. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to earn your business. You can contact me through my online store or email me with any questions you may have. I'll list my email below and a link to my online store. I'll also list the dimensions below along with the products and details I used for making this card. I have a host code for the month of August, and that is XDQ7J7BM. I will link this in the bottom also. So if you place an online order at the end of the month, I will send you a thank you gift. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you next time.